Welcome to the Gooder Podcast, where we talk with powerhouse women in CPG about their journeys to success. This episode is sponsored by Retail Voodoo, a brand development firm guiding mission-driven consumer brands to attract new and passionate consumer base, crush their categories through growth and innovation, and magnify their social and environmental impact. If your brand is in need of brand positioning, package design, or marketing activation, we are here to help. You can find more information at www.retail-voodoo.com.
Hi, Diana Freich here. I am the host of the Gooder Podcast, where I get to talk with a powerhouse women in the food, beverage, and wellness categories about their journeys to success and their insights on the industry. This episode is brought to you by Retail Voodoo. We are a brand development firm providing strategic brand and design services for brands in the food, wellness, and beverage industries. Our clients include Starbucks, Kind, REI, PepsiCo, Hi-Key, and many other market leaders. So if your goal is to crush your competition by driving growth and disrupting the marketplace with new and innovative ideas, give us a call and let's talk. Or you can check us out at retail-voodoo.com. Well, today, my guest is Zahira Marmar, wife, mother of three, and founder and chief brewer of Hrbvor herbal teas. Zahira is on a mission to share the protective health benefits of herbal tea with families everywhere. She is a professional gardener and previously the owner of Maarten Garden Artists, where she designed and maintained organic vegetable and herb gardens for private clients. That sounds amazing. Schools and resorts. Zahira has a BA in sociology, and you're going to have to tell me what an MSc is.
It's a master's in science.
Aha! Okay, and so she has a BA in sociology and a master's in community regeneration. I love that. But before I welcome Zahira, I want to give a big high five shout out to her husband, Dan, who reached out to me and said, this woman needs to be interviewed for your podcast. So Dan, thank you very much. Thank you for being a supporter of not just your wife, but women in CPG. Hello, Zahira. How are you? Where are you located today?
Hi, Diana. I just want to start by saying thank you so much for having me on this show. I went through quite a few of the previous episodes, and this is such an amazing resource for women in business. So thank you so much for having the show, and also today for having me on the show.
Yes, of course.
Today I'm here with you from New Jersey, which is the Garden State.
Oh, it sure is. Yes. How appropriate.
Yeah. Very much so.
Oh my goodness. Okay, well, tell us a little bit about Hrbvor. What is Hrbvor and what does the brand stand for?
So Hrbvor is my herbal tea company. We make herbal teas in different formats, and it's really formulated to nourish and protect our health.
Mm-hmm. Great. And then tell me, we had such a wonderful conversation yesterday, and the backstory of how this brand came about. Can you tell us, not just me, how this brand came about and why you decided to create it?
Yeah, sure. So Hrbvor really was born in New Jersey, but it came out of the inspiration of my childhood. Growing up in St. Martin in the Caribbean, drinking tea, herbal tea, bush tea, as we called it, was really such an essential part of our life, of my life as a child. And I remember growing up and my mom sending me out to the garden in the morning to pick whatever bush, whatever herbs were kind of needed for that day's tea. And so I grew up around tea. I grew up with tea in the morning, tea during the day, tea for ailments, tea for enjoyment, tea as a way of life. And when we had our children, it was very, very important for me to continue that tea culture with our children in our family. so that our children also grow up with tea as I did. So that is really the origin story of Hrbvor.
Well, I remember you talking about that this is not just your family's culture, that this is the culture of island life. Like
Right.
Everybody in the Caribbean drinks tea. This is like a water beverage, for lack of a better thing. When you talk about going out and getting the herbs that you needed for the day, is that something that your mom said, Zahira, please go get me what you can find? Or were these plants that were in the backyard? Did you go out into the wild, or it's a combination of both?
Actually, it is more in our backyard. So I think in the Caribbean, almost all families or households, there's some bush tea or some herbs that are growing in the garden, whether in the ground or in pots if there's no space in the ground, that are kind of designated for tea. For me, I grew up in the hills in St. Martin, so I also had the benefit of having a lot of space around me.
Okay.
In our garden at home in St. Martin, as well as the hills, where a lot of I would say a lot of herbs that I came to know of later, their names like nettle, like singing nettle, and plantain. All of these herbs kind of grew wild in the hills, and yes, they did. So we would go and forage some of those herbs. To combine them with herbs like lemongrass and passion flower. I mean, soursop leaves, moringa. I mean, we have all of these amazing herbs growing in our garden in St. Martin. Basils, thymes, bitter melon, aloe. I can go on and on. And each of these herbs, I knew them. Some of them not by their names, but I knew them for the function.
Yes.
And I was sent out to get them for, like, if we had like a little bit of a fever, if someone was running a fever, or we would be sent for lemongrass. If someone was, if we needed to, if my mom needed us to go to sleep, mainly in the time, the wind down tea for the evening.
Yes.
Passion flower and soursop leaves and some basil, that's what we had. If you had a cough, for sure, you were going out for thyme, because thyme was that I knew growing up the thyme was good for cough. So that's kind of how I grew up in St. Martin with herbs around me, and knowing the benefit of the herbs, and sometimes not knowing the name of the herbs until later on, but knowing that herbs were truly medicinal. And they actually worked.
So you probably, I suspect, when you were just a little one, I suspect that you probably knew what was going on in the household by what your mother asked you to go pick up.
Pretty much. Pretty much. And, I'm the eldest of three. I have a younger brother and sister. And I'm probably the only one who really, really likes to get down and dirty in the dirt. I love to plant. And so I was always the one planting with my mom, going out and foraging. I was mostly the one that she sent out because, I was looking for every opportunity to really be in contact and connection with the earth.
Really?
That was just such a big part of who I was, thankfully, and it's really kind of shaped me into who I am today. So yes, I was usually the one going out into the garden and picking the bush according to what we needed. Even for facial steams, for herbal baths, there were herbs for everything. And for everything, there's an herb, and we were sent out to the garden for the ones that we had, and for the ones that we didn't have, we'd go down to my aunts or to someone else in the community, and we would get herbs there for our needs. Yeah.
That's so interesting. When my parents are immigrants. Anybody who's listened to a few episodes may have already known this. My parents were immigrants, but me and my siblings were born here in the United States. And one of the things that I as kids, we were kids in the 70s and 80s. And at the time, the US culture was not as open to foreign influence. And so my parents would have all sorts of herbal whatever, sometimes mostly for relaxation or just for general enjoyment. But if there was some sort of health issue in the house, we would have those. And we would, as kids, we didn't want them because they weren't American. You know, we were different and weird at the time. Now we live in a culture that is far more embracing, especially food and beverages and those types of things. So I can only imagine. Yeah. And the reason why I bring this up, I guess, is that even still, while the American palate has changed and we're really open to food and beverages, I think tea is still a strange beast in the United States. I think most Americans see it as either very British and colonial or East Indian, but with a very heavily British colonial influence, or Chinese. I mean, Asian, yes, but mostly Chinese from a green tea. And I feel like there is so much missing from the enjoyment of tea. Now, I believe when we were talking yesterday, you spoke a little bit about tea cultural in general in the Caribbean is much different than here in the United States. And that's part of what inspired this brand. Am I right?
Absolutely. And, you know, I'm so glad that you brought that up, Diana, because even within the Caribbean today, and even back when I was a child, I think more so today, or probably back then when I was a child more so, because now, you know, things are coming full circle. The younger generations are really, they want to know the things that were either kept from them or, you know, the things that used to be that aren't now. And they don't want to be told that this is not for you. They wanted to kind of discover it for
themselves. Yeah.
Right. So, you know, growing up, I have to say, in the Caribbean, I would almost say that in general, I always had the feeling that herbal medicine or herbs for health and wellness was almost kind of demonized, or like it was not such a good thing, something that you should kind of do like under the table, hush hush, because it's not conventional medicine. In the Caribbean, you know, we looked up so much to the Western world and to the Americas, you know, that you know, almost like we wanted to be in their good graces and be like a world country, so that the medicine or the medicinal path of our folk medicine was almost demonized, or just like hushed, you know.
Yes, I do.
And that's really unfortunate, because I have to say that so much of the knowledge that could have been passed on, through the generations was lost.
Yes.
That oral kind of tradition of how you make and how you prepare these herbs, and even to the level of what their names are. A lot of that was lost because it was not seen as a good thing, as something
right.
So I think we've lost in the Caribbean, certainly in St. Martin, a lot of the oral tradition around preparation of herbs.
Oh, really?
A preparation of herbs for medicinal use. Obviously, some of it, you know, kept. Which I'm so grateful to my mother and my grandmother on my father's side. My father's from Guyana. My mom, she's from St. Martin. Her people from St. Martin, but she also her mom is Dominican, and so we have a lot of Caribbean influences within our family. I'm so grateful for the elders within my life that were able to really pass on some of that oral tradition that remained, that they were able to latch onto from their parents and their parents' parents. That I was able to use now, and also to pass to my children.
Yes.
And, you know, through future generations. I'm just on the level of like names. I can say a difference in America, or one thing that I learned is like the names of herbs is different everywhere.
Yes.
Even different Caribbean islands call a certain herb a different name.
Really?
There's some similarities, but the name it's called in a different way. And it's only when I moved to America and I tried to find some of our herbs and I'm putting in the name in the computer and I just cannot find it under the name that I knew them by, that I really started to get to know the I would say the legal or the medicinal, the name for each of the herbs, so that I would be able to access those herbs everywhere in the world. So yeah, it's very different how I grew up with herbs and herbal tea and as medicine, or for health and wellness and overall.
Yes, and enjoyment.
And enjoyment, of course.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure everyone who knows tea can tell you that teas, there's some herbs that are really bitter, and the bitterness serves a purpose. So it may not be nice to taste, but it really does the trick. Fortunately, my outlook on tea, especially because tea started with my children, is that it has to taste good. If it doesn't taste good, people are probably not going to want to take it, and you're going to have a lot of resistance.
Yeah. My
aim and my ambition is to make healthy teas that are good for you, that taste amazing, and I think I've been able to achieve that.
That's awesome. Well, yeah, and you were telling me stories of sending beverages, sending these teas in your children's lunches.
Yes. So when we moved to New Jersey from St. Martin, I was kind of faced with this fact that there are not many options for healthy drinks in the grocery aisles, and in addition to that, tea was like not a thing. Herbal teas was like you could not find that in the grocery stores. And growing up how I did, and at the time, like my children, like that, they drank a lot of tea and they still do. So even making the transition from a Caribbean lifestyle to an American lifestyle, which, now they're kind of straddling both.
Yes.
For them, it was important, as it was important for me, that they still had that tea. So I made tea every night for our children. And I put it in like kind of small upcycled water bottles, and I would send them. I would send them each to school with a tea that was good for them, kind of like what my mom did, but in a different way. They weren't going out and picking the herbs, because here in New Jersey, it's not a climate that's conducive to a year-round growth of herbs, or the herbs that I grew up with.
Yes.
So I had to source the herbs from different places.
Yeah.
But so I would send my son, he had really bad allergies. So during allergy season, I would send him with a tea that was really good for his allergies. I would send one of my daughters, and we have twin girls, and our son is younger. I would send one of my girls with one that was like really hydrating, because she's very active in sport. And I would send the other one with something that's calming, because she's like she's very animated, and it's not always good to be animated all the time.
True.
You need to have that calm.
Yeah.
And to be honest, our first teas that I launched with were inspired by our children. So we have our calm tea, which is for my daughter, our focus tea for my son, and also the Revive, which is very hydrating and for skin and nourishment, and that's for my other daughter. So that's where our first 3 formulas really came from.
Oh my gosh. Well, family is really important to you. I can tell that, and I know we talked about this, and I know one of the things that we talked about that that you wanted to cover today is just kind of talking about the success of like what you consider success when balancing business with family. And, when we're looking at the modern culture, and I'm thinking specifically, Serena Williams just made a public announcement where she just recently said, listen, I can't be the best tennis player in the world and be a great mom. I have to choose. And this is the lot. And so she's made a very specific choice in order to feel like she is doing the best that she can and what's important to her. When we're talking about you want to be 100% mom, you want to be 100% professional, you want to be 100% everything, right? We are just that. It's a little bit more of a subtle version of what I personally saw in the 90s, with a really severe shoulders and women having to behave very masculine in a very masculine workforce. Mm-hmm. I'm curious, what are some of the tools that you use to be the best version of you in this moment of growing a new brand and children in the house?
Yeah, that's a great question. Like, first of all, I like to start off by saying that I'm still not the best version of me that I can be.
I bet you are.
I know what it feels like, and I know that I'm striving towards it, but I'm not there yet. Mm-hmm. Every day, making more strides.
Okay.
And for sure, people, expect us to be like super moms, 100% mom, like you said, 100% this savvy businesswoman and just 100% at everything.
Yes.
And, the truth of the matter is that, we can't be, like Serena Williams said, we can't be that 100%. And is it fair to think that to expect that of ourselves? Mm-hmm. I think not. And one thing I would say is it's not so much about work-life balance. Mm-hmm. For me, it's more about work-life harmony.
Ooh.
So I would say first of all, personally, when I take care of myself and I take time to nourish my needs as Zahira, as an individual, Zahira, the businesswoman, then I in turn can have like a fuller cup to nourish my business. Yeah. So it's important first to make sure that you take care of yourself. And that's something that, again, I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely working towards that. And also, making time with family sacred. And how I do that is by scheduling time. If it's not scheduled, it's not happening. That's
the truth.
So many things that are going on. It's like popcorn in our brains.
Yeah.
That you can miss very important stuff like like basketball games, unless you have a daughter who's pulling your coat and say, "Excuse me, I have a game tomorrow. I have a game tonight. It's at 7:00." But when there's so much going on in your mind and in your life, you really have to schedule the time. Mm-hmm. And so for me, it's very important to schedule time for the family. Mm-hmm. So I would say, like, for us, we have family fun night, and the kids really, really look forward to that. And actually, we do a lot. And just a note. I mean, it's totally off. But how we did that is everyone wrote like about 5 activities that they would like to do with the family on pieces of paper. We put it, kind of tied it up. We put it in a bucket, in a basket. Okay. Every Wednesday night we shake it around, and then someone goes in, they dive in, and they pick out, and that's what we do for that for that day. So everyone feels that they're a part of it. Theirs could be picked at any moment, and then we really have fun as a family. So we do that one night every week for family fun night, and then I also like to take Sundays for us as a family to just family time. I don't want to work. Mm-hmm. Again, guilty as charged. Sometimes there's that email or something
Yeah.
I really need to send. I'm sensitive, and then I
Yes.
need to sneak out. Sometimes during
Yes.
our movie, I need to sneak out and
Yes.
do something. But it's real about finding that harmony, because if the children and the family, the hubby feels that they are loved,
Important.
they're
Yes.
important, then it doesn't need to be like 100, like, you know, like 50-50.
Right.
It's about finding that harmony
Right.
between all the different parts.
Yes.
And another way, I guess the last way I would say that I do that, another tip is really to involve as much as possible family in work. And I have done that. Like our first logo, and we've had a couple iterations of our logo, but our first logo was designed by one of my daughters.
Oh, you're kidding.
Yes.
That's awesome.
So she's totally like this design personality. She loves to design. She gives everyone kind of tips on what to wear and what not to wear.
Oh, okay.
So I came with a logo, and she was like, "No, Mom, it's not gonna work. If my friends are gonna drink that, this is gonna be a turn off. This is what you need to do."
Oh.
So she designed our first logo.
Okay.
And we stayed a little bit true to it's been iterated on since, but she's always been a part of that process. And I think when the children are a part of the process in the business in any way, that they don't see it as competing so much with your work, but more like this is our work. This is work for our family. This is our family business. So that's another way that I was able to do that.
I love that. Zahira, I'd like to go back to the business of growing your business. I know it's still early, and there have probably been a lot of learnings in this stage of your career. So I wonder if there are any learning experiences, mistakes, something that may have changed the trajectory of your career, and maybe, what could they possibly be, and how has it impacted how you do things today?
Right. So, one of the learnings, very important learnings for me coming into beverage, and there's, I didn't have the background in beverage formulation or, food science. I was just a mother who had, grew up in a certain way and wanted to continue this for their children.
Yes.
And I was very good at it. And then beyond that, I wanted to share it with others. So kind of going into the industry, kind of, wide-eyed and naive. I learned a lot of things. I learned first that, there's a lot of compromise, Diana, that happens in our industry. For the sake of making money, as much money as possible. And for me, that was very foreign. For me, it's all about the quality of ingredients and the process, the quality of the process. And I saw that there's so many brands that were kind of taking the compromise on the quality of their ingredients, and then they were really growing, and they're able to take have really great, is not quite the best, it's subpar. So for me, that was really kind of serious learning very early on, and something that I felt like I had to, like, that wasn't me, that wasn't us, it wasn't our brand, it wasn't something that I could do. Like, anyone who knows me knows that I just happen to have very high quality standards, consumption for our family.
Yes.
Teas were made primarily for my children, first for us, and then it grew into something that I wanted to share with the world. So, again, anyone who knows me would know, if I'm not gonna feed it to my kids and my family, there's no way that I'm putting it out there.
Right.
Anyone else. So that's just like standard wise. I've really had some learnings around how my stance was a little different than that of so many of my peers my peers in the industry.
Yeah.
Like we only use organic and non-GMO herbs. We use, raw organic honey, things that are expensive.
Yes.
Expensive ingredients.
Yes.
We don't use any syrups or powders. It's really herbs, dried herbs and water.
Yes.
And so kind of maintaining that, I got a lot of looks, even of people who could have, invested. They're like, I don't know how you're going to do that with the margins, because those are expensive ingredients, and those, that's just a hard way to do it. Why not just get some powders and mix it in the water, and voila, there you go. So that's been quite a learning experience for me at this stage, that I've been able to, I think I've successfully able to get over that. I'm not making any, I'm not lowering our standards of our brand to meet margins, or to, of course, it has to be, in order to be a viable product, you can't lose, but quality of ingredients and quality of process always been front and foremost for our brand. I've lost some because of it, but it's okay. Eventually we'll get there, where we need to be.
Yes.
Things are really looking up, because I think now people are really coming to value ingredients.
Yes, agreed.
They put their bodies, they're really coming to value process, that it's not, like they're not putting highly processed foods in their bodies anymore. They're really looking at ingredients. So
yes. I totally understood. And, listen, the beverage industry is just a bit, I call it big time wrestling. Like there's people beating themselves up over margin all the time. And I'm always surprised when we work with a beverage brand. Every once in a while, we'll find a beverage brand where we feel like the marketplace could tolerate a higher price point. And when we make the recommendation, and of course, the people who run the numbers are like, you're insane. And you have to go, well, no, the brand value requires a higher price point, and we will raise the price on a product, and the sales go up because now suddenly people go, oh,
perception of a quality product.
Exactly. So good on you. Keep to what you feel is right. I'm glad to hear that. Oh, what are you most proud of at this time?
What I'm most proud of, honestly, it's my children, for sure. I mean, like, with all seriousness, it's all my children. It's my biological children, as well as this tea company, which is
your
kind
baby,
of my baby, and how we've been able to have all of them support each other. Like, our children are our biggest ambassadors for Hrbvor. Because of our children taking our teas to school, there's been a lot of, one friend started, what's that? Can I have some? And then another friend and another friend. And before you know it, like, we have like orders that are coming in from all over.
I love it.
From families that their children told them, you have to buy this. Not only because my friend, it's her family business, but I really like this. And that, Diane, I've got to tell you, it's been insane to think that that children are drinking herbal tea.
It's awesome. I love it.
American children are drinking herbal tea, and I love it all, again, because it tastes good. They don't have to know. They should, but it's not really important right now. That it's like amazingly healthy and it's so good for you. It's like water plus. But I would say that's one of the things I'm most proud of.
That's awesome.
That our children are our biggest ambassadors for our brand.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that children are interested in it, because a sweet tea, which is very popular across the United States, but is really based off of the black tea, brewing black tea. Just adding some sweet tea tends to be so sugar filled. And mostly it's because to offset the bitterness of the black tea, right? And so you have the herbal teas like yours that are naturally refreshing and don't require all the sugar. Like, how great is that?
Exactly. So one of the things that was super important and to me and very core to our brand values is we want to make it taste as good as possible, but we don't want to compromise on the health benefits. So that means that it has to be it's not going to be a sugary drink, but it's going to be just enough sweet that it kind of touches your taste buds in the right way.
I love it.
So we've been able that in itself took quite a lot of formulation back and forth. And again, like I tested it on my kids. I mean, one can say that, oh, it's your kids. They're gonna say that it's good regardless. Well, I gotta tell you, my kids have some of the most sophisticated palates, and they are brutally honest. And that's exactly what we needed to really, formulate in the best way. If it caters to them, and they know the taste of the now taste.
Yes.
And what caters to their friends. That if it catered to them and they liked it, if it was make it a little sweeter, a little less here, a little less bitter here and there. Which took about a year or so in formulation, but we were able to get it right, all of us as a family. So that was that's really great.
Well, what's next for Hrbvor? What do you have? Is there a trade show? Is there a new product or new platform?
Yeah, for sure. I guess first is like me getting out there, and I gotta thank my hubby. Dan, for really finding this opportunity because I'm so like head down in the work. I forget to raise up and say hi or like here I am. I'm very like behind the scenes. So he was able to find this opportunity. It was such an amazing opportunity. It's such an amazing resource for women. So that's the first thing, is just getting more out there. I've been starting to do more trade shows, and the next one that's coming up is Expo East.
Yes, I'll be there.
We'll be there. We'll see each other for sure.
Yes.
So that's really like getting the brand out now, getting the business more visible, and really just scaling from boutique retailers. We're in some amazing boutique retailers. But we want to scale now from boutique retailers to more chains.
Sure.
So chain retailers. So that's definitely on the horizon. And also introducing our loose leaf tea line, which is new. And it's we're just getting it out there. So that's very, very exciting. Those are the things that are really on the immediate horizon for Hrbvor. Yeah.
I love it. Zahira, I have really enjoyed our time today and yesterday too. 2 days in a row. Look at that. Okay. Our time is almost up, but I have a couple of questions I like to ask everybody. So before we wrap up, I'll ask you the first one. What trends in food and beverage, well, actually in our industry or not, are you following and why?
Trends. I tell you that the word trends, it's I have like a love-hate relationship.
Yeah, I know.
I would say, one, because, you want to be with the times. You kind of have to be with the times or you're going to be irrelevant in some ways, because people like trends and they want to jump on the, whatever's hot now. That being said, I try not to actively like follow trends. I love it when our products align with trends. I really love it, and when that happens, and it's happened quite a lot with our products since we started. I don't know if you've heard of hibiscus. Being super like antioxidant, great for your skin. Everyone is raving about hibiscus. Hibiscus is in our Revive formula. I grew up with hibiscus, and it was in our formula before it became a trend. The same with moringa, which is like a superfood.
Yes, yes.
And Tulsi, which is a adaptogen. All of these, like I learned after, adaptogen, Tulsi, well, great. So we fit into that trend, which is great. It's great that we're kind of, we're meeting. But I do try not to like jump on bandwagons because trends rise and trends, trends fall. But
understood. Yeah.
We're building something that's going to be enduring. Regardless of trends.
Yes. Well, the hope is that the trend becomes mainstream, right? That it's right. And so to become mainstream, you need to start as a trend. So I always like to hear what people are keeping their eye on and checking out. On
TikTok,
that note,
TikTok.
Oh, girl, don't. No.
they say TikTok and videos. That's like, you need to do videos. If you're gonna get out there, you need to do videos. And I hear that. And that's, I mean, again, like anyone who knows me, like that's so not me.
Yeah.
I'm like head down and, so, but that's one trend that I would say I have to pick up.
Yeah.
I have to get more involved in, like, for the business, to get the business out there.
Yes.
For sure, just videos and really being authentic. I think being authentic in how you represent, how you present yourself and your brand in video format. So people are really, it's trending now to follow brands that are authentic, I should say. So that's something that I'm definitely working on. We're working on some videos and getting me out there and getting our brand out there with videos. But yeah, TikTok and Instagram videos.
There you go. Are there any other women leaders or rising stars out there that you would like to elevate or simply admire for the work that they're doing right now?
Okay, I won't like mention the obvious, Oprah's and Serena Williams. But for sure, there's one who comes to mind immediately. It's her name is Ellen Marie Bennett, and she wrote a book called Dream First, Details Later. She's the founder of Hedley and Bennett Aprons. I don't know if you heard of them.
No.
I actually met her at a mixer in New York, and she was like, honestly, she's like my lady crush. My business crush. I'm like, oh my gosh, she is so, like, her personality. She just has an aura about her.
Oh, I love it.
That just kind of emanates like, you can do it. If you can dream it, you can do it. And she has done that. I mean, you should really look into her book, Dream First.
Dream First,
Details After. She's a Latina powerhouse, and I've really been following her.
Wow.
And yeah, she's really great.
I love that the title of that book too. Love it. Well, we have been talking with Zahira Marmar, founder and chief brewer of Hrbvor. Zahira, where can people learn more about you and your brand?
People can find Hrbvor at our website. It's www.drinkherbivore, that's HRBVOR.com. We're also on Instagram and Facebook at Hrbvor, at HRBVOR. And we're also on LinkedIn at drinkherbivore.com.
Awesome. I love it. Thank you so much for your time today, Zahira. I'm so happy to have spent time with you, and I look forward to seeing what's next and seeing you at Expo East. Yes. And I want to thank all of you listeners for your time today. If you like this episode, please share it with a friend. Otherwise, have a great rest of your day, and we'll catch you next time on the Gooder Podcast.
Thank you.
We hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you haven't already, be sure to click subscribe and share with your network. Until next time, be well and do gooder.